Once upon a time, above the clouds, there was a magical valley of colors and fragrances, Gulistan-e-Noor. Thousands of fairies lived there, who grew new flowers every day. Some took care of red roses, some stayed near blue lotuses, while others spread the fragrance of jasmine. Among them lived a very small, delicate fairy, Mahak. Mahak was different from all the other fairies. Her wings did not shine, nor did she possess the sparkle of colors. She would quietly sit beside a withered little flower whose petals had lost their color. The other fairies often made fun of her. "Look, that's the fairy who only takes care of a dead flower. What a waste of time. If she wanted, she could make the whole garden bloom." Mahak would smile, but deep inside, she would feel a soft sting point one day. The flower drooped even more. Mahak gently touched its petals and said, "Don't worry, I will see you bloom again. Just a little patience and a little bit of faith." Near the flower lived a little firefly. He would often come to her and say, "Mahak, why do you work so hard? The other fairies work in big gardens. Why do you hold on to just one dying flower?" Mahak softly replied, "If I can save one flower, maybe one day it will become the life of the entire garden." Rumi didn't understand her words, but he was moved by her loyalty that night. When the rest of the fairies danced beneath the glowing clouds, Mahak would sit beside her little flower, watering the soil, cleaning its roots, and praying for it. Days passed. The flower straightened a little, but still could not bloom. Mahak's heart began to break, but she did not give up. One night, a storm came. Thunder roared through the clouds, winds howled, and heavy rain shook the entire Gulistan. When the sun rose the next morning, many flowers had fallen. Mahak ran to her flower. It was lying on the ground. With trembling hands, she lifted it, cleaned the dirt, and began to cry. "I promised I would save you, but I have failed." At that moment, Rumi the firefly came to her. "Mahak, it hurts to see you cry, but look, at least you tried." The other fairies ran away from their gardens. "You did not give up." Mahak gently planted the flower back into the soil and said in her heart, "I will not give up. As long as I breathe, I will keep trying." In the days that followed, she decided to take care of the entire garden. She cleaned the earth, sprinkled water on every leaf, and whispered to every bush, "There is beauty inside you. You only need someone to believe in it." At first, nothing changed. But one morning, as the sun's first light slipped through the clouds, the entire garden began to glow. First one flower bloomed, then another, and within moments, the whole valley became an ocean of colors. The flowers swayed to Mahak's voice. Rumi began to spread light, and the other fairies stood there, stunned. How? How is this possible? Wasn't that the withered flower?" Mahak smiled and said, "I only reminded them that they could bloom, just as I believed in myself." At that moment, that same withered flower, Mahak's first companion, began to shine. Light burst from its petals, spreading through the entire garden, giving new life to every flower around. That sight was so beautiful that Queen Noorina, the fairy queen of the skies, descended herself. "Mahak," she said, "you have made the impossible possible. You reminded us all that true power lies not in magic, but in faith." Mahak bowed her head. "I only made a friend. I saw hope in a dying flower." The queen smiled and waved her wand. Mahak's tiny wings began to glow, her dress filled with light, and from that day forward, she was called the Flower Fairy. From that day on, Mahak's garden became the most beautiful place in Gulistan-e-Noor. Fairies would come there, play with fragrances, and tell children a story. There was once a small fairy who believed in a single flower, and that belief made the entire world bloom. Friendship and self-belief are the kind of magic that can change the world. If a dying flower receives love, it can become a garden. And if a human receives belief, they can turn dreams into reality.